But did that, did you still surprised to get these going out?
Yeah, so I'm surprised. Still about an hour ago when they started.
He said he knew all along, but I don't know.
Are you kidding me?
Is that your grandpa?
Yes.
What are you doing? How are you? You thought we
You got Grandpa?
There's been a lot of- You gonna do something for Grandpa? There you go. Well, I don't know what you think's gonna happen now. You're gonna have to give a speech. Oh, yeah. All I know, there's been a lot of people busting their butts to trying to keep this a secret. And anyway, I'm just surprised. I'm not gonna say
Months in the works, so
I'll have it.
we started working on this months ago. Everybody in here, we just started going, and obviously Jane especially helped me out a ton. So it's pretty awesome. Well deserved for that. So we just kind of worked together and pulled together. I tried to get somebody to actually sort of MC this that would be fitting, but we ran out of money. So I'm gonna roll through this as best as possible. But just for you that don't know, obviously Brad's here. Brad's wife Jane is here. Brad's daughter McKenna, daughter Lauren, Lauren's husband Dan, Brad's son Marshall, and Marshall's wife. Help me.
Taylor.
Taylor, that's right. So Brad has another son up in Logan, right? Colton's up in Logan, and Corinne is up in Salt Lake.
Correct, Farmington, yeah.
Farmington. So it's awesome to have you guys here. I think that has a huge impact for Brad to sit here. So you're along for the ride too, so that's super cool. I'm just going to try to do a couple things real quick, and we'll turn it over to Brad. There's a lot of people here that have stuff that they want to say and present you and stuff like that. So
That might not be good.
But just for people know, it was kind of interesting talking with Jane about Brad. I know just about everything about Brad now that we worked together for about 4 years, but a lot I didn't know. So for those of you that didn't know, Brad graduated from BYU with an accounting degree.
No, I couldn't get into BYU if I tried.
Weber State with an accounting degree.
With
though.
an accountant.
So it's hard to look at Brad and think he was an accountant or was an aspiring accountant at one point, but apparently he was going to be a bean counter. Turned out to be a better DH, I think. But Brad helped me out, but I think we got these stats right. You graduated from the DEA Academy in April of '91, is what we came up with. Class number 80. At that time, Colton, Lauren, and Marshall were around, right? And then Brad was sent from the academy to Las Cruces, New Mexico, where you spent, 8 years? Up until about 99. And that's when Corinne and McKenna were born, right? So that's a little bit of history. And then the most recent, history as far as family goes is this I had to correct, right? 13 grandkids, does that sound right?
13th grandkid 2 weeks ago.
It seems like for the last couple of years, every time Brad comes into the office, he says one of his kids is or daughters-in-law is pregnant, or they just had a kid or something.
They've been very prolific lately.
13 grandkids, love for the journey, so that's pretty cool. Brad got to St. George, I think we figured December '99. Started January 4th, 98, December '98. Started in the office right at the beginning of January '99. So that's 21 years. Yeah. The way I counted it, Brad has, let's just say 30 years of service with DEA. Just short, couple months short, 30 years. So pretty impressive, pretty cool. Just when I first met Brad, when I came down here, I came down here as thinking I was a young strong, physically fit guy, and I was gonna work with this old guy, and it was gonna be weird. And right, like 2 months into me being here, we had that grow out on the Arizona Strip. And I've told Brad this 100 times, and he makes me feel better. But we were hiking, and I was supposed to be the one leading us up to the observation point. And I thought I was in shape and fit. And every time I turned around, Brad's way up the mountain, and I'm just down like dying because I'm so tired and out of shape. I learned a lot about Brad at that point. And then recently, I just trying to give you an idea, you all know, but just from my perspective and how much I look up to Brad as an agent. You know, we had a case not too long ago that the locals, I think it was UHP, did a seizure out in Monticello. One of the guys, I think I talked to him first, that we were trying to do an operation like a controlled delivery. So I'm not super up to speed on that. Brad's done a bunch, so I just got Brad in, you know, we put the speakerphone on. Brad just took that thing and ran with it. Ended up going out to Monticello for what, 4 days, 5 days, something like that. It wasn't me going out there, it was Brad. So Brad's been a good agent. There's 100 other stories, but that's just a couple things I wanted to say real quick. Brad, before I turn it over to some other folks for you, everybody pulled together, got you some gifts. And there's some other stuff, plaques and stuff I just wanted to go over, and I'll put this all back nice here in a second. But so obviously everybody knows in law enforcement, you know, in fact I thought it was going to happen today. I thought the bosses were coming down to take your gun, but I guess they're going to let you keep it for a couple of weeks. But we know you're going to need something to, you know, protect yourself and you know, hopefully just have it with you. So we were able to find these nunchucks. So my initial thought was I just bought the one, but my youngest daughter told me that the Ninja Turtle guy has two, like a set. And he said it'd be lame if you didn't have two. So we don't want you to be lame out there. So
We need a demonstration.
Yeah.
So there you go. So
Thank you.
the other thing we came up with is I think it's weird to have sunglasses and reading glasses in one. Brad can't see, so we bought him some.
It does look stupid, I know, but I still wear them.
But you know, I don't know if that's helpful. And then you know, as you move on, you're going to start doing some other stuff with your life, with your career and stuff. Just a little magnifying glass, simple light. So what else have we got? Also, if you're around our office, you probably notice kind of a weird smell sometimes from the food Brad eats. Brad loves pickled whatever.
Eggs.
So yeah, pickled eggs. So we bought pickled carrots, pickled onions. Part of the problem is it looks a little odd, but I went shopping for pickled stuff at the same time my wife did, and I didn't know it. So we both ended up getting pickled stuff. So you're going home with a lot of pickled stuff today, but dilly beans. So
Oh, good, thank you.
didn't opt for the beans, but also Brad, we just picked these up. I know you like those.
I do.
Sangria.
That,
So
that came from you when you were over in Brazil.
movie night for you. What else have we got in here? So I think. Yep. So this is just, like I said, Brad, everybody pulled together and got you some pretty cool gifts, including just what was left over. We just put it on a Best Buy card for you. So hopefully you can use that to go help you with your laptop. So,
Thank you.
And then finally, last but not least, actually the nunchucks was a joke.
Holy
Everybody pitched in. Yeah, so everybody pitched in. Got you a Glock 43, so the 9mm. Open it up and take a look at it. I saw Lieutenant Krause here somewhere, I think. Yep, LT over there. So LT did some work on it, Brad. So take a look at
Really?
it and see what you think.
Holy smokes. I can't believe it. Thank you very much.
So hopefully you can use that in your
No,
concealed carry. And
that'll be great, because this is the first time I've ever
This is the first time you guys have ever seen me in pants with my shirt tucked in, because my boss is here, and they said we're looking like a slouch, and so I have my gun here, and this will be a whole lot better than what I'm wearing.
And then I just, this is a in the pants holster, just a Kydex one.
Thank you.
I
That's
don't know,
amazing.
it that way, but.
No, that's amazing. Thank you.
And then just the last thing I have, or second to last, or whatever, and then I'll get out of here, or at least move on, is Sheriff Pulsifer stopped by.
Oh, good.
And he left that for you. I wish I could have maybe talked to him ahead of time, because he wanted to talk to you. Obviously, with what he's going through, he couldn't be here as a group. So I feel bad that we couldn't hook you guys up. But
I feel bad.
he stopped by and wanted to touch base with you, and he left that for you. So.
I'm sure everybody knows Sheriff Pulsifer is having cancer treatment, and so that
Yeah, it was really good to see him, but he just didn't want to be
He's a good
around the group. So, but that's from him. So.
Thank you guys. That is,
And then finally, I think we all know, as great as Brad is, Brad's only the one half of the show. So obviously Jane's been around this whole time, 30 years, and then however many years before that, right? So I just want to recognize Jane. You've been there the whole time. Bought you some flowers, but I thought I was going to give them to you, and then my wife said, well, she's going to have water dripping all over. That's weird. So those are for you. I'll let Brad give them to you when we're done. And then I just bought a little one for McKenna too. McKenna's been there with Brad, so those ones are yours.
there's been us three for all the years.
Yep, you guys have done it, so that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate it.
I'm
I know it.
we don't have it. We were tested.
We were tested.
So
We've got a spoon on a daily basis.
yeah, I mean, it's just the two of us, so we're not going to get any more details. We just turned some time over to Miguel or Jay, however you guys want to do that, maybe.
So we were trying to trick Brad all day, all week. And he finally realized, if you guys notice when we're walking in here, he finally realized and goes, what are you guys doing to me? So, thanks for keeping it a secret. My name's Miguel Chino. I'm Brad's first line supervisor. I've been here 4.5 years, and we've worked together. I come down to St. George about once a month or whatever, so whether it was phone calls or reading his reports or seen him at meetings or whatever, Brad and I have seen a lot of each other. So a lot of people want to say stuff, so I won't say a lot. Just two stories real quick about Brad. Not to roast him, but the first thing is, somebody to get 3 extensions is unheard of. You don't see it a lot. It's good work by my bosses and Brad's bosses that they pushed to get him these extensions so he could stick around a lot longer. But it really is a good show of what kind of agent Brad is, that we'd want him to stick around. Because 57 is, not to expose Brad's age, but 57's the top, and you have to retire then. And most bosses will say, good, we get rid of dead weight at 57, but for Brad to get 3 extensions actually shows what kind of agent he is. So the two stories I have. First story, so Brad's getting these extensions, he's on his last extension, he's still doing a bunch of undercover work. And I was like, Brad, you're on your 3rd extension, why are you doing, because undercover is dangerous. I go, why are you still doing undercover work? He goes, I really enjoy it. And to go along with that story, probably about a month ago, Brad got in the car for a case we were working in Monticello. So Brad drove all the way over there in the middle of the night. Here's a guy that's on his last extension. It really doesn't matter what he does. He has to retire, in June of next year, So it doesn't matter. But he drives all the way out there. He stays 4 days in a hotel room with a pseudo informant, hanging out with this person, doing all that stuff. A guy that's on his 3rd extension that really could coast and do nothing. So, what those two stories have in common is that Brad has that fire and he has that desire. And a lot of times, and I hope it doesn't change, law enforcement, because if law enforcement does change and we don't have that fire and desire to put people in jail that need to go to jail, the United States is not going to look like what the United States should look like. And so Brad's a great example of somebody for the last close to 30 years that's had that desire and that burning in him. And you know, he uses terms, old school terms like crooks and stuff like that. And a lot of you probably heard him say that. But he has that desire to put these people in jail, whether it's doing undercover, as his, you'll hear his name, Steve, as his undercover name is, or whatever he's doing, he's always had that drive. And it's good to see, and I hope that, you know, the person that replaces Brad still has that desire to do that. And I hope in law enforcement in general, whether it's people working the road, detectives, agents, whatever it is, you hope you have that same thing. And Brad's a great example of that. But this is a statue that our office up in Salt Lake gives to, whether it's a task force officer that's leaving or retiring, or an agent that's leaving or retirement, we give them this statue. And it's number 47. Anyways, congratulations on your retirement, Brad.
Thank you.
Jared Johnson's here. Little did Brad know Jared's here, but that was a funny story there real quick as Jared's walking up, is we're trying to keep this thing a surprise. Our special agent in charge, Deanne, was flying in from Denver to come have some meetings today and obviously be here for Brad's thing. Jared was on Deanne's flight, and Brad ran into Jared at the airport as we were picking him up.
And I had never met Jared, and I'm like, the pilot, the crew said there's another agent on board, and I'm like, ooh, like, I don't recognize anybody, and I'm like, oh God, it's somebody for the party. So I'm trying to call these guys and say, who's on the plane with me from Denver, so that I can tell them to stay inside, because Brad's picking me up. Well, that didn't work.
It didn't work, and I did put two and two together until we were actually just about to land, and I was like, I'll bet you're the one on the plane coming down for his party, and so I didn't think he was going to be there to pick you up. That's right, for meetings, Hey, most of you in the room, I know Jared Johnson. I worked here with Brad for a couple years back in from 2014 to early 2017. But I met Brad actually back in '98, I think, when you were first here for your house hunting trip. The office hadn't even, the office was open with one of the other agents, Tim Moran, but I met Brad. I was here as a police officer and got chatting with Brad, and little did I know that my career would kind of follow Brad's path, as far as that as I moved in and started looking at applying for DEA, there was an opportunity for me to do an internship with the DEA office here. I think it's the first one that was ever done. And Tim Moran was one of the agents, Brad was the other agent. I would come in on my days off and do some intern hours, but I didn't realize that my main job that I was going to have was going to be to moderate between Brad and Tim's political discussions throughout the office. And at the time, they were in an office at the county attorney's where they each had their own independent office, but there was a common hallway through the middle. And they would just debate back and forth, even through that hallway, and it was nonstop. So they were those discussions even still took place after Tim retired and moved back east. When I was here, I'd hear Brad on the phone with Tim, still having those debates, and I felt like I was back 15 years ago, still moderating that. But our career paths kind of followed. Brad started out in Las Cruces, New Mexico. When I left the academy, that was where I was assigned. And Brad called down, and DEA's a large enough agency, but we're still small enough that it doesn't take long before you know someone that knows somebody. And Brad had called down and let the folks know that I was on my way down and knew him. And when I got there, one of the group assistants, her name's Barbara Hall, kind of took me under her wing, and she told me, she's like, Brad's the best agent I've ever worked with. He's the most thoughtful, the hardest working, and it wasn't long that you would see the reports come through as you're following up on cases and stuff, and Brad's name was on those reports. And when I left the office in Las Cruces, Brad, one of his I guess habits that his group had down there was when they would get ready to go out on a deal, there was a stuffed duck a goose that would sit on this filing cabinet. And if you got a goose egg on your deal and it didn't get what you were supposed to, you had to come back and pet that goose. And that goose was still there when I left. And so those of you that have worked with Brad, you know he likes to have a good time, and he's a practical joker. But the one thing that always stuck with me with Brad was the compassion that he had, not only for the folks that he works with, but also just for his fellow man. And I remember when I worked here with him that there was an individual in the community that was homebound, and Brad would take time each week to go down and visit with that person. And I just always, it struck me as far as like just, he could be so busy and would always look and make sure that he shared time with this individual that had very few visitors. Brad, it was a pleasure working with you. I was glad I got the opportunity to come back and see you off on your final hoorah here. And I didn't expect to see you at the airport, though. If I'd known you were there, I would have let you just pick me up, too.
If I could just say a few things.
Please.
So the first time I kind of met Jared, we ended up chasing some guys that escaped, and they got down to the Virgin River, and we were chasing, tracking them in and out of the river. And this was a good indicator of what was going to happen. We're chasing this crook through the river, in and out for a long time, and all in like, I don't know, an hour or two. And then all of a sudden, here comes Jared with our crook. And he had hid it under the bridge, and Jared was just smart enough to go under the bridge and look. And we had spent, I don't know how long.
Yeah, a few hours.
And here's Jared, and since then, Jared's always been in the right spot at the right time. And when he says he kind of followed me in the career, well, his career has been like that. And the first call I got from Cruces, when I said, hey, look, I've recommended a guy coming down. About 2 weeks later, every female secretary in that office called up and said, well, thank you for sending Jared. He's like this golden goddess. And then he grew his hair long, and I think he donated your hair to cancer. One of the girls said, I got a lock of his hair. Everywhere you go, it's like this with Jared. It's just, anyway.
Hey, this is supposed to be your roast.
I know.
But I do want to share one thing that when you see the photos up here is one of the things that attracted me to DEA was it's kind of a nice dress code that we have. Some days it can be fairly laxed, and Brad kind of brought that to a whole new level one day when we were in the office, and so you'll see it up here. And it's a wetsuit that he's wearing, and but the story behind that is that Brad used to like to go swimming in the reservoir over in Santa Clara, and when the cooler months, it was he needed a little extra warmth, so he'd come in after his workout wearing this wetsuit. So there it is, right there. That's DEA's dress code. So.
Well, I got us. Jared was partners with me. I had a little high blood pressure back then. I was on some high blood pressure, and it sent me crazy. So. And I didn't know it, but for 2 years you had to work with some nut.
No.
And I apologize.
No, it was great.
It was, no, I was like a nut. Anyway.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and I do want to thank your family as well, because I know the sacrifice over an almost 30-year career that the families make, and so thank you very much for the sacrifice that you guys have done as well.
And Jared got promoted. He's now the country attaché over in Guatemala, right?
Guatemala, if I can ever learn Spanish. So I'm still working on that. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations.
Angie, Steve, you guys want to, it's your cue? Help me out if I'm messing this thing up.
So, I've been a prosecutor for about a year now. When I first started, it really hit me that I was a prosecutor when I first met Brad. I had gone through the whole process, but I met Brad and I felt like I was in Breaking Bad or The Wire or something. I drove up with him to Cedar City. About a 45-minute drive, my second week of the job, and I learned more about narcotics in that drive than I had my entire life. And I was asking him just specific questions. So what does heroin do? What does meth do? And he just explained it in a way that you could tell he'd been doing this for a really long time. So
The drugs.
he's helped us prosecute in the U.S. Attorney's Office a lot of cases over the year. Angie and I have worked with him on a number of cases. Judge Kohler and Judge Bell can speak a lot, and I'm sure they have a lot of war stories about cases that they have with Brad. It's an honor for us as prosecutors to work with law enforcement, and it's my favorite part of the job. Brad is an example of a dedicated law enforcement officer. We feel really lucky and blessed to have worked with him. We're going to miss him. We're going to miss Undercover Steve a lot as well. And we hope that he stays in touch with us and that he stops by. So just want to say congratulations on your retirement. Thank you so much for the years. And I just want to say about Brad, one of the things that stands out the most is he's just a really good guy. He's just somebody that I really like to see. He's a kind person, and so that's something that's really important to remember too. He's just a thoughtful, kind, gracious person. And so not only are we going to miss your work because you've made a giant impact, you have the historical knowledge of the Southern Utah drug trade, but we're also going to miss your friendship. And so we hope that we can continue that and that you stop by. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Things that I want to agree with everything Steve said, but I can't come up here and not say a few things to you. I only had the opportunity to work with you for a couple of years, and if I'm excited for your retirement, I'm excited for the next chapter of your life for you as a person, but I'm really sad that I'm not going to have the opportunity going forward to work with you in the capacity that we've been working together for the last couple of years. 3 words come to mind when I think of Brad Cox, and it's the man, the myth, the legend. When I came to the U.S. Attorney's Office a couple of years ago, I'd been a prosecutor for 22 years. I worked with hundreds of law enforcement officers, and thought I kind of knew everything about everything. Well, I didn't know anything about drug dealers until I came to the U.S. Attorney's Office. And like Steve, Brad taught me a lot. He taught me a lot 2 years about drug dealers, and he taught me a lot about compassion. I've heard those words a couple of times, and it's one thing I really wanted to say about Brad is you're an amazing, exemplary agent, but you also have a heart of gold and you have a lot of compassion. And as a federal prosecutor, we get to meet most of the drug dealing defendants. We go meet them in the jail, we talk through the cases with them. It's an opportunity that we don't have as state prosecutors. So I had an opportunity to go into the jails with Brad and meet defendants and really see who they are and see the human side of them. And working with you, been able to come to some really reasonable resolutions for people that have hopefully put people on the right path when they come out of federal prison. So I think we share that long-term goal, and I really appreciate that in you, that you can see the human side of these people that I've grown to see just in the last couple of years that I've been able to work with you. So I'm going to miss working with you. And John Huber was planning on being here today to present the plaque to you, and then had to cancel at the last minute, but he wanted to be here to show his respect and admiration for the work that you do and how you support the District of Utah.
I'm sure I could be hard.
The smirk over there.
Something's probably coming.
You know we got stuff to say. We heard there was a party for Undercover Steve, so we came. We did a little sleuthing. They talk about why he liked to be an undercover agent. I figured out because about once a quarter Brad likes to have a smoke. And they won't let him do that at home.
I got that in the tradition.
All right, so and 30 years of crack investigative training, he couldn't figure out there was a party for him today.
You guys are good at lying, covering up.
The real reason is since about his second extension, Brad comes over to the Children's Museum every Thursday afternoon for a little nap and playtime. Matt and I, we worked with Brad for 10 or 11, 12 years, and hundreds of bad guys, thousands of crooks that have gone to jail for thousands of hours. Lots of good work. But as Matt and I were reflecting, we put a few things together, and we'd like to share some insights with you.
Yeah, I met Brad, and I was St. George police officer, and when Brad got here in late '98, and you know, he seemed a little familiar to me, and some of you younger folks might not appreciate it, but sometimes as lawyers, like sometimes we want to put something aside and then come back to it with fresh eyes. And I've been on the bench for a couple of years now. As it came back to it, it dawned on me where I knew Brad from. He's actually Barry Gibb, founding member of the Bee Gees. And at first, a little chuckle, but I looked into it, and it makes sense that he's a DEA agent because Barry Gibb's younger brother Andy, after struggling with cocaine, died in the late '80s. And Brad made it his life work to fight those drug crooks. And so he got his hair cut. I mean, have you seen Barry Gibb in the last 30 years?
He went business on the top and party in the back, and you can't tell anymore.
But you can tell by the way he uses his walk. So maybe before we end the day, he'll give us a rendition of that trademark falsetto that he has.
It's more like a shuffle now. So.
But you know, every picture we found of him got gold chain, so we wanted to give Brad a gold chain to take
It's time to let that chest hair breathe, my
friend. We love Brad. He's done a lot of good work, and more importantly, he's a good man. And that's the best part about doing this job. I think you all know that, is working with good people, trying to make the community a better place. God bless him, and you, and your family. Thanks. Congratulations.
I saw HSI. Did you guys want to take a second? Yeah, no, yeah. Yep.
We'll make it really brief. Being in a small community like this is actually a really cool opportunity, being in law enforcement, whether you're a state, local, fed, or whatever. Getting to know other agencies, leaning on each other, we do, especially the feds, very, very small, 2, 3 guy offices, so we really appreciate, the cooperation and coordination of all our brothers out there. Worked with Brad about 10 years on some pretty interesting cases once in a while, but the only one that he caught me off guard, he's a pretty sly fox, is we were doing a warrant out in Boston, and randomly he's like, no, we have to do the warrant on Thursday. You have something going on at home? No, we got to do it Thursday. What's going on, Brad? Just we're doing it Thursday. So we travel out. It's a frickin' Boston Red Sox game. That's a true story. So, anyways, I'm gonna keep it pretty brief. We appreciate you. Heck of an agent. We'll miss you. Very proud of his family. Very nice meeting all you guys finally. That he yaps about you all the time. So, very loving father and husband. I've heard a earful more than one occasion. So, how proud he is of your family. But anyways, thanks guys. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it, Brad.
I just want to give Brad this plaque in appreciation of our years working together as agencies, HSI and DEA. We worked together on several cases on marijuana grows and different other cases. And so we had a great partnership with Brad, and so we just want to give him this plaque.
Awesome.
Thank you, Brad.
Mark actually got that rock for you. And his daughter's married tomorrow. So, oh, that's why you don't work.
Don't thank you.
Yeah.
Marcus, what do you guys want to do? Task Force, St. George, together? Yeah.
We were going to try and make it quick and give it to, the guy that's So we still will make it quick in case any of these guys want to say something. But we wanted to obviously thank Brad for the years of service that he's made or that he's done to with the Washington County Drug Task Force. We're definitely going to miss the mispronunciation of names, wrong names. It's just telling a story earlier today.
Not Matt.
He's not Matt. Taking a trip to Vegas and Brad refers to him as Matt the whole way down. He's like, "Did you say anything?" He's like, "Nah, I just rolled with it." That's what we learned to do. It's Gibby. Gibby Gibson is who it is. So. But, we're going to miss having to close our door when Brad's on the phone because we can't hear ourselves think. He's talking so loud. And that's before it even gets to be a heated conversation. I don't know how Brady does it day in and day out. But anyway, so we wanted to present Brad with this. It is the dates commemorating his time here in St. George and his work with the Washington County Drug Task Force.
I promise I'll be brief. I'm not one of many words, but I just want to let Brad know how much we appreciate his many years of service. I reminded him this morning that he was actually assigned to this post of duty long before I was even a police officer. So I don't want to poke any fun at age or anything, but Brad's been around for a while. So, but we'll truly miss him. I'd also like to express our appreciation on behalf of the police department and the city of St. George, not just for Brad, but for his family. All of us know what a sacrifice this often is for family, and it really takes a strong support system to be successful. Sean mentions the wrong names. I'll never forget. I think the one thing I remember most about Brad is his interesting pronunciation of the Spanish language. If you ever want to hear an interesting Spanish lessons, get with Brad. He does a great job.
I'll help teach Jared.
So, but anyway, in all seriousness, Brad's done an outstanding job, not just for the Drug Task Force, but for this community, for St. George, I think for Washington County. It's been great to have him here. We're going to miss him. Hopefully he'll stay in touch and enjoys his next adventure. So, Brad.
So Chief just asked me, hey, do you have a story you can share? I'm like, oh, I've got a story. Then I remembered, wait, his family's here. No. I think one of the funniest ones, Brad came up to do some UC work, and I'll be honest, I don't have the best CIs. I mean, never have. And Brad was always like, man, where do you find these guys? This guy might have been the dumbest person I've ever met in my life. Brad comes up, we put Brad in our Cadillac, and the Cadillac, it's a special thing. You have to jump start it every single time, even with the brand new battery. But the seat, you can mess with the wires underneath it and move the seat back. otherwise it's all the way up next to the steering wheel, so we messed with the wires, got the seat moved all the way back. Brad comes up, the car had been running for a while. I'm like, all right, here's the deal, just can't turn off the car. And he's like, oh, perfect, not a problem. He's like, wait, how about when I get there? And I'm like, no, don't turn it off, it won't start back up. And he's like, okay. But I forgot to tell him about the seat. If the seat started to move up, to reach underneath and move the wires. So he gets there, he's set up on this Y, and all of a sudden I hear, wait, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, what the heck? And he goes, this seat. And so we call him on the phone, tell him about the wires, and he moved the seat back. But the guy finally shows up that he's buying dope off of, and this guy, I mean, he is, I don't even know how to put it. He wasn't a bright individual. Brad and him start talking dope, and out of the blue, Brad goes, wow. And the guy's like, what? And he goes, you might be the dumbest person I ever met. I'm like, you're not gonna buy dope off this guy, it's not gonna happen. And the guy's like, all right, guy, here's the deal, I'll cut you a break. Brad insulted the guy and got a better price, all off of that. And I'd like to, he was, no, Brad's always been a lot of fun to work with. He puts up with us up in Iron County. I know he's come up quite a few times, and one of the times we're doing our briefing beforehand, he goes, all right, what channel are you guys gonna work off of? And I'm like, what are you talking, what channel? He's like, well, how do you guys talk to each other? And I'm like, I look at the other guy in the seat next to me and I say, hey, here's what we're gonna do. And he's like, there's only us? And I'm like, yeah, sorry. So he's like, okay. But no, he's always put up with us. He's always, I can call him anytime, and he's been a great help. So we just really appreciate everything he's done for us.
So Brad, so for those that don't know, we have 3 counties that we cover up there: Iron, Garfield, Beaver. The sheriff's here today, and we want to express our thanks as well for those that aren't here: Sheriff Perkins and Sheriff Noel, and there's a ton of people. So we appreciate what you've done for us up there. I know you've kind of been central here, but the impact you've had on those 3 counties has been remarkable. I served in the task force 18 years ago and got a chance to work with Brad back then. I was just always amazed. All the stories you've heard here today, spot on, and just a consummate professional. So we just wanted to present this plaque to you on behalf of the Iron, Garfield, Beaver County's task force. All the patches are represented. Just a small token of our appreciation for all that you've done. So God bless you, sir. Thank you.
He's been gone for so long. I know. He just got hired on with DEA too, so he's leaving when? Oh.
Brad's training in.
Yeah.
Mike Mitchell, Washington County.
Hey Brad, so Chief Brooks Mead, Washington County Sheriff's Office, wanted me to give you this. Couldn't be here, he had other things going on with the Sheriff's
I've
Office.
seen Brooksby today.
Okay, so here's some coins, some patches, and here's a knife.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, it's engraved, but I wanted to tell a funny story, okay? So I worked with this guy for, I don't know, it's been over 10 years. I was a TFO with the DEA, and worked closely with Brad for about 3 years. And by far, it was the happiest time of my life. The most enjoyable time for me.
We had a lot of
working with
fun.
you. So some of the cases that we worked were really good cases. We had a Spice case, OCDF case, where we seized, just under $3 million worth of assets. Really big case. But the most memorable case that I can think of was a delivery, a controlled delivery. Remember when we went to Kansas City?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know anybody that could just call in a C-130 and have them fly in and pick up the crook's car, as Brad would say, and fly us out with 2 cooperatives and fly us out to Kansas City, Missouri with the car and do a controlled delivery. Where it was successful. We ended up arresting 3 more people and getting cash and more dope. It was kind of crazy. It was a liquid meth pipeline case that Richfield got us. And it was in an older car, and since it was liquid meth, we couldn't just go rent a car, you know, and do a controlled delivery that way. So he gets on the phone and gets this C-130. And the guard flew a C-130, and they were just so happened to be flying to on the east side from LA, and they just dropped us off in Kansas City. So, but before that, did he tell you he slept with the girl?
Well, I don't know what you're going to say now.
What?
What are you going to say now?
You didn't tell Jane?
About Maribel?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Maribel. He even remembers her name. So, I don't know if you should tell it or I'll just.
Oh, you're on a roll.
So,
we know the truth.
one of the cooperators or cooperatives, so it was a boyfriend-girlfriend duo, and they were cooperating with us, and instead of, because we had to, the plane was coming the next morning, and so we got a motel room, and 2 motel rooms, and he slept with Maribel, and I slept with her boyfriend. But Maribel, what was going on with her? She was very nervous that night. Her stomach, she had some stomach issues. So we had, our rooms were connected. We kept the door open.
And Maribel weighed about 300 pounds.
Maribel.
I think we have heard this story.
So you did hear
I
that?
think I know where it's going.
So I'm in there, and we have the crooks. We rolled in twin beds and cuffed them to the bed because we didn't want to take them to jail, book them in, and then book them out or get them out, and it would have just taken way too long. So we were on a schedule. So he's like, I'll sleep with Maribel. You sleep with. So we left the door open though, and all of a sudden this overwhelming stench. I'm like, what the heck, Brad? So Maribel had to go to the bathroom because she was having stomach issues. But it was the whole night. But anyways, we ended up getting Maribel taken care of, and we got on the plane the next morning.
I think for a long time we'd say, hey, I got to take a break, I got to take a Maribel.
Yeah. So from then on, if we had to go to the bathroom, it was always, hey, I got to do a Maribel. So, but anyways, it was great working with you, and I'll always remember the times we had. We went to Boston, went to that Boston Red Sox game. Yeah, it was awesome. So, congratulations.
We got everybody that was planning on saying something. Brad, I think the floor is yours. Everybody's been waiting.
Well, it's going to be short. I'm serious, I don't know what to say. I think I've been about the most fortunate guy that I can think of. Working down here and working with all of you, I just think I'm about the most fortunate person in the world. I really do. I've enjoyed it so much that I can't explain to you. And I think it's pretty unique down here. It's like I told some of the Cedar City guys. I said, working here in southern Utah, it really is. It's not like working so much with co-workers or anything like that. It's more like working with friends and family. And that's the way I feel about it. And to work with people like this, I couldn't ask for more. I've been so fortunate. And I'm not really very good at very many things. But the one thing I'm good at is knowing to ask other people to help in my cases, people that are much smarter and better than me. And any success that I've had on any of the cases is because of you guys and people that I've worked with. I wish I had time because I could tell a lot of stories in here about you guys, many stories, but I don't have the time for that. But I appreciate so much the support of everybody from the secretaries in the offices that help us so much to the prosecutors. We were talking today, I wish every agent, every cop could experience what we've experienced down here in working with the U.S. Attorney's Office. I really don't know of a spot that would be better to do that. And I wish everybody could have that experience down here. And then the support we've had from our management up in Salt Lake, it has been amazing. Everything we've wanted to do down here, they supported us. And it's been great. And I appreciate everything. And Brady taking all the time to do this. Just like I was telling them today, I've had two partners that were attorneys. And I suck at writing anyway. My wife can tell you that. She's a writer. And to read my reports when you compare with Brady's is painful for things. And so Brady's going to be great. And I appreciate all the partners I've had. Well, I've only had a few down here. And that's been because they've all been amazing partners. I've been just so lucky. And like Dee Dee, I've known Dee. How long have we known each other? Before I got here, I've known you my whole career. Yeah, and you've put up with my crap for the whole time. Calling up, Brad, you didn't do this form right. Brad, where's this? And you've been so patient and good. It's just wonderful. And lastly, my family, my wife, as everybody in this room knows, our families really put up with a lot of stuff. All the late nights, all the cancellations, and for what my wife has done and put up with, it's just amazing. And I love you. I'm so grateful that you put up with us all this time. I don't know what you're gonna. I'll still be working, so you won't have to put up with me at home very long. I'll still be out with that, and McKenna, and just my kids. We really do have a job that's worthwhile doing. I feel that strongly. When you think about what our job is, helping people and chasing crooks, and they pay us for that, that's an honorable job, and that's a job worth doing. And then to work with people like this on top of that, we're very fortunate to do that. And I've just been very grateful and very blessed in my career. And I really do love you all. Now I'm going to quit talking because I'll probably say something stupid and get choked up, and I don't want to do that. But thank you very much.
So unfortunately, this has been my first trip down to Salt Lake, and it was a pleasure meeting many of you in the room today. It felt like the Brad Cox Roadshow today as I was going through, and all the congratulations. And as it was stated before, he's gotten 3 extensions, which is pretty much unheard of in DEA. And I did sign the last one, but after today, and you did not know you were having a party, well, I'm a little worried about your investigation.
It was very confusing what was going on.
But in all seriousness, all your friends, your coworkers in this room, this is a testament to what you've done down here. And this office is going to suffer with your retirement. But it is my privilege to be here and to witness this and to hear all the great things about you and your family. It is so wonderful to have let you do this with us all these years, and now we get to turn him back over to you to take care of. But we all from DEA appreciate the partnerships that we have, and again, it is a testament to Brad's work ethic and what he's done here to see all of you in this room today. So I appreciate all of you too. Thank you, Brad. Together, and he's got some refreshments prepared for everybody. And mingle.
Thank you again, everybody, for coming. I know it's fun.
Should I turn it off? We should take a picture of our family. Yeah, turn it off. I did now.